It was interesting how you brought up
Are you addressing this to one?
to both of the candidates. And I'm Joe Strutt from MapleWoodian.com.
On me or him?
Both of us.
You both acknowledged, and in the question it was acknowledged that taxes is our worst problem, and then asked to comment on what else is a problem. Can I ask both of you, what would you do with the growing property tax problem, which we all felt in the recent bills, and we will now feel in the revaluation, something that gives people some hope that there can be some relief? What would you do at our level or at the state level or at any level? Mr. Brownlee?
Well, one thing that I mentioned in my opening remarks that I'm very much a fan of is something called shared services. How long can I talk? Do I have a time limit? Or
Well,
We weren't good. Are you
We're around approximately 2 minutes.
2 minutes? Okay, I'll try to talk quickly. Those of you who've been at a coffee that I'm at, I'll talk for a long time if I can. Shared services, a way of offsetting existing expenses, maintaining the level of services, while actually potentially decreasing the costs associated with them. I'll give an example. I was speaking to the head of the Department of Public Works, and he was speaking about the fact that in order to examine the pipes that are underneath the streets that we're in, there's a device that they use. Okay, this is a very expensive device, and not every town has one. Okay, so we actually contract out with a contractor to do that work on our behalf at the rate of $1,000, $1,500, or up to $2,000 a day in peak season. Okay, and they examine the pipes, give us a report, and do the bills. And I asked him, I said, are there towns around us that have that? And he mentioned that Union has one. Okay, Union has one. They actually own the device and they do it. And I said, well, what if we had an arrangement with them where they came and examined our streets, okay, our pipes, I should say, with this device? Therefore, they would get some revenue because we would pay them for that, and we would get our streets, or excuse me, our pipes examined for a lesser rate than the rate that we're paying that outside contractor. And he said, that's a good idea, actually. I hadn't thought of that. Okay? So that's the kind of thing where if we actually could do that with them, okay, and actually have the expense associated with each examination be less, we could actually potentially increase the level of service, getting our infrastructure maintained more often, and yet actually pay less for the expense. And I think we need to look top to bottom at all the different things that we do as a government and actually see where there are opportunities where we can share the responsibility for delivering those services. Okay? We've made a start of it. We certainly have examples like the municipal court that's starting up next year. Okay? That's an example of a shared service. We often talk about doing that work with, say, South Orange because they're a sister town, but we border 6 towns. Okay? I'd like to establish relationships with all of them. Okay? We can actually do that. We can actually do things at the county level as well. I could give an example of our 911 dispatch service. Okay, there's an example in Fanwood where, oh, only about 2 minutes. Okay, I could continue on, but I apologize. It does.
We all know that taxes are a problem, okay, but there are ways we can start very quickly reducing. For one thing, I don't see why we need to pay for an open space fund tax 3 times. We pay to the state through our income tax. We pay to the county from our property taxes, by the way, which is 6 cents to $100, 6% to 6 cents per dollar. Okay, and we pay it in Maplewood for 3 cents per dollar. Well, if we're already paying to the county and we're paying to the state, why do we have to pay it to the town? That alone would reduce 3 cents per dollar, and in many cases, that's a good deal of money, especially since they're generating about $250,000 a year just from that alone. Other areas is, you've got to look at what's going on, okay? If you look at the Maplewood Pool, which is a private utility, and the after-school program, which is a self-sustaining program, both programs have tax appropriated $1.1 million for the 2010 budget. That basically says that tax dollars have been used to fund these 2 organizations. Yet Maplewood Pool is a private utility. It charges its members for membership fees. But those members are Maplewood residents. So if I'm a resident of Maplewood and I decide to join the pool, I pay the membership fee. But I've already paid tax dollars for their support. Well, that should be changed. The Maplewood Pool should be exactly what it is, a private utility with its own set of books and its own checkbook, and not have to be appropriated, which, by the way, is legal in that the town writes checks for the pool and for the after-school program. And the only way they can do that is they appropriate the tax dollars. Okay.